Hello YouTube, it is time for the Dimensions End Entropy Tier 19 guide. It is releasing January 14th UTC at 2 a.m. and it comes with Variants Rework, LD, Burst, and Mission Dungeon. Before we get started with this video, you know what to do. Like the video, help it with the algorithm to spread the video around, share the video where you can, comment with your planned team. I will be interacting with comments, so feel free to ask whatever you want. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. I play both JP and global versions, help the channel grow, and I do these monthly guides on Dimensions End working with the Tonberry Troupe. Additionally, check out my playlist in the card for other Dimensions End guides. This video will be broken down into parts that are accessible in the timestamps below. First, we'll go over the stage theme, the recommended roles, we're going to break down the waves, we're going to list the top units, and we're going to close it out. First things first, the stage theme is framed buffs, frequent HP attacks, and 4 waves of enemies. There are no type resistances. This tier is actually pretty tame, so there's a lot of flexibility you can run with here. In fact, if you're this far, this is probably the easiest tier you've encountered on release to date. Anyways, now to get into recommended roles. Nothing I'm going to list is required, it's just suggestions to let you have an easier time. If you're looking to build a solid team for this tier, these recommendations should help you choose. This is focused on units who come out around the release of this tier. Considering we have Lufenia content now, this chaos stage is largely power crept on release, and I don't expect most people to have much trouble with it if they're here. The first role I'd recommend is damage mitigation and healing. Like the notice says, the bosses HP attack frequently. Taking less HP damage means you get to stay alive longer. Heal it up afterwards, and just in case you get damaged anyways. Tanks, attack down, HP damage reduction, defense up are all great ideas to bring here. Good examples are the recent Beatrix, Furion, Rude, Kieran, Gladiolus, Gao, or X-Death. Just an aside, I'd caution against bringing Warrior of Light here because I'd say he's an essential unit for tier 20, so if you have him waiting around, just hold on. Next, we have damage. The best defense is a good offense, or however that phrase goes. The faster the bosses go down, the less you'll get hit. There's no resistances on this tier, like I said earlier, so feel free to go crazy. Can't go wrong here. Tier 20 is restrictive, so anyone on your bench you can probably bring here and get away with. Examples of good damage dealers to bring here are Cloud, Furion, Xande, Sephiroth, Karen, or X-Death. And again, as an aside, I would not recommend bringing Lightning here. I would advise to save her for tier 20. Lastly, and this is a bit of a stretch of a role, but I'd say if you have a Dispel unit, it's good to bring them here. The enemies grant themselves buffs, both framed and unframed. This role is completely unnecessary, but it's nice to weaken the enemy whenever possible. The tier is emphasizing it, but honestly I believe it's not super impactful, and they were reaching when trying to describe how to tackle this tier. So examples would be the recent Beatrix with LD, and Cloud with World of Illusions weapons, which you should have by now. Now we're going to break down the stage wave by wave. Again, chaos is largely crept at this point. If you've been keeping up with any stages, you can probably beat this stage with your eyes closed. We're going to walk through it anyways, just for those who might need more help. Wave 1, we have the Lunatic Heritage Golem. I think this is the Lulu Lost Chapter boss, but I can't quite remember. But anyways, the boss likes to buff itself with framed attack and defense up after it attacks you. Their attacks can delay you by 1, 2, or 3 turns. So watch out because you might get your turns offset and caught off guard. The recast ability they have is an AoE Brave plus HP that progressively gets stronger the more they get it off. You really want to take them out before this becomes too dangerous. The delays that the bosses enact means that they get more frequent turns, they're going to hit harder because they keep powering up, and they'll break you, which means that the recast will come up faster. Their buffs can be dispelled, but if you can't dispel them or you don't bring a dispeller, it's not the end of the world. Just take them out, they don't have much HP, and you'll be on to the next wave in no time. Wave 2 consists of the Lunatic Gigantoad and the Lunatic Weird. I don't know how to say that word. W-Y-E-R-D, whatever. They're from Final Fantasy IX. You know them. The Gigantoad is weak to ice and absorbs water, and the other guy is fire weak and resists ice. So if you're bringing those elements, just be aware. Probably shouldn't be a huge trouble, but it is what it is. This wave looks like a trash wave, but it's actually not. They have a decent amount of HP. The Toad can inflict poison, which you should know saps your brave, and it inflicts frog. and for 1 turn it makes you do 1 brave damage. So that's something to be aware of if you see it. Otherwise, nothing threatening there. And I'm going to call it just a walrus. It can swap your brave, which can catch you off guard, maybe if you need to do some quick brave shaving. It's not a huge deal, but just be aware of it. Otherwise, these guys shouldn't take long either. Wave 3 is the Lunatic Bastion Giant. This is the Sync Lost Chapter boss. It is immune to frog. You can't Yuffie the debuff from last wave, so give up on that right now. It can inflict generic attack, eye brave, speed, and defense down. It also buffs itself with attack and speed up. What's new here is that the boss will turn red for 1 turn and increase its attack, defense, and HP damage dealt. While it's not guaranteed to do an HP attack right after, it's good to mitigate this if it might. What you want to do is use damage reduction, HP damage mitigation, or stuns to prevent this guy from attacking, or you can prevent him from getting a turn in general just by delays and other stuns. If you are super paranoid about the red phase, you can summon, although it probably won't be that bad. The tried and true brace for it and heal afterwards is also very valid. He likes to do the consecutive actions, multiple brave attacks, and then dump HP, just like the Sync Lost Chapter, and it can catch you off guard if you're not ready for it, but again, this is chaos at this point. You can probably tank it through sheer will alone. Otherwise, the boss is pretty much identical to Sync's Lost Chapter. It'll speed up and start chaining multiple attacks together, so you want to take it down as fast as possible. You don't need to dispel it, but it's obviously going to be a lot simpler if it's not as fast if you dispel the speed down, and if it's not hitting as hard with you dispelling the attack down. Lastly, we have Wave 4, which is the Lunatic Might Eater, plus the Lunatic MITE Eaters, which are the ads. This is the Bosch Lost Chapter boss. It lowers your max HP when it first gets a turn, but this time, it doesn't get that first turn right off the bat. I'll go into that later. It can buff itself up with defense up, attack, speed, and eye brave up, and it can also debuff you with sap. As this one is famous for, it has very nasty AoE HP attacks. The ads like HP attacks as well. At HP thresholds, it will target all and do the infamous Absorb Energy, where it takes all your brave and does a huge HP attack. You can brace for this with mitigation, or from the jump, just don't let this guy get a turn at all. Burst, delay, summon, stun. It's entirely possible for this thing not to get a lot of turns, if any at all. If you bring Cloud or some other paralyzer or delayer, I would definitely not expect you to see any of the mechanics that this guy brings. Basically, blow it up before you blow it up. But if you are planning to deal with the attacks, just choreographs it, brace for it, don't get caught off guard, and this thing will go down before you know it. Now I'm going to go over my top units that I think you should bring for this tier. First is Cloud. He has insane damage plus utility. He's got delay to prevent the bosses from getting turns, and paralyzes to prevent them from acting when they do finally get a turn. All his skills do great damage, single target, and splash. He dispels enemy buffs provided you have his World of Illusions weapon, which I seriously recommend you grab from the exchange if you haven't already. I believe if you have his LD, this is the perfect place to use him, so feel free to. Don't save him for tier 20. Next, in my recommendations, we have Beatrix. She has damage mitigation, defense up, attack down so you don't get hit hard. Also, she can burn Paladin's protection to keep you temporarily protected from any nasty attacks that may come your way until she gets another turn. She has HP regen to keep you healthy, and she dispels via her LD. She has solid damage and is definitely a potential vital character in your team. If you have her and you haven't burned her yet, use her here. Next up, we have Farion. He is freshly reworked right when this tier drops. He has party support via auras and battery. He's got party heals on his skills outside of his EX, and he has traps that also heals. He has attack down on his trap debuff as well to protect the party from getting hit that hard. Farion keeps the party healthy, all that good stuff. He could probably keep you alive the entire tier if you play it right. He does suffer when his HP gets low, so you could bring a second healer alongside him if you so please, but he's another awesome pick for this tier. My last recommendation for this tier is Rude. Again, he has strong battery and damage, he has stellar party heals, and he's got brave damage reduction to reduce incoming damage. Alone, he's solid, but pair him with Farion and you're just going to destroy this tier. It's actually pretty disgusting seeing what they can do together. He's a solid backbone of pretty much any team you want to bring here. And that's it. Feel free to check out my playlist of runs in the card to the right. And thanks for watching. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and leave your team in the comments. My team, I'm thinking about running Farion, Rude, and Cloud. Maybe I'll sub in Zonde for Cloud. Who knows? I'll figure it out when I get there. You guys will see the video. Tier 20 is coming after this, and that tier is that's a doozy. That'll be a fun guide to write, and it'll be the conclusion for my Entropy series, so that'll be fun. Just ignore the fact that I never actually did videos for 4 and 5. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. Be sure to ask questions if you got them. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.